Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to do the stock analysis of one of your favorite companies, Vaibhav Global. Before we begin, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell icon, and you can follow me on different social media handles as well. Let's get started. So Vaibhav Global is a global retailer of fashion jewelry and different accessories like bags, beauty products and several lifestyle products. All these products are sold in huge markets like US, UK, and they are mainly sold through their website and their online TV channels. This is a vertically integrated retailer. They do their own manufacturing of fashion jewelry and other products, and sometimes they are sourced from different countries and they are retailed to US and UK. They have their manufacturing units in India and China, and some of their products are sourced from Asian countries, African countries, European and South American countries. It also engages in B2B supply of these fashion products. That means the retailers who sell these products in other foreign countries buy from Vaibhav Global in wholesale and they retail their products there. The company has its headquarters in Jaipur, Rajasthan. Earlier, it was called Vaibhav Gems Limited in 1989 when it was incorporated. This got publicly listed in 1996-97 and this was renamed as Vaibhav Global Limited in 2013. Presently, this company ranks 65th in Fortune India's Next 500 list. Now let's talk about the management of this company. The managing director is Mr. Sunil Agarwal. He's a first generation entrepreneur. He's a commerce graduate and MBA from Columbia University, US. He started Vaibhav Enterprises in 1980. He has traveled widely across the world and gained a lot of experience of this business. He has represented the company in various international fairs and exhibitions, and he was a pioneer in launching or popularizing a gemstone called Tanzanite. Mr. Amit Agarwal is the president of their US business. He also has a vast experience in the retailing world. When he started his career, he was working with a company called BSL Limited. He joined the Vaibhav Group 15 years ago, and in 2016, he became the director of TJC UK. So he was earlier involved in their UK business, and from there now he is heading their US business. While he was managing the UK business, it was recognized as one of the best places to work in the UK. In 2019, he was appointed as the president of the US business, and he is a commerce graduate with an MBA degree. Mr. Shrikant Jha heads their UK business. He is an MBA in marketing and finance from IIPM. He has joined the VGL Business Group immediately after he completed his MBA in 2007. And initially, he spent a couple of years as a trainee and he was learning the managing and sourcing of the business. He spent about 10 years in the UK business, and in 2019, he was appointed as the managing director of the TJC business, which is UK. Now, let's talk about the journey and milestones of this company. In 1980, they launched Vaibhav Enterprises. And back then, it was not a private limited company or it was not a listed company. In 1989, they incorporated Vaibhav Gems Limited, which is a public limited company. In 1996-97, they came out with a public offer of rupees 709.50 lakhs at a premium of just 20 rupees per share. So you can imagine that when the company came out with an IPO, the shares were available at a very cheap price, and now it has run into thousands. So it has been really a wealth creator. In 1999-2000, they set up a 100% export-oriented unit at Sitapura. In 2005-2006, they acquired STS group of companies. This is to help their B2B business in sourcing and supply and also their retail business. And they also started setting up their retail chain stores. In 2005-06 itself, Warburg, which is a well-known PE firm, acquired about 27% stake in the company. In 2006-2007, they received the highest export award for colored gemstone category for the 15th time. So you can see that this has been an award-winning company in terms of exports in their field. And in the same year, they launched their UK business, which they call it the Jewelry Channel, and their US business called the Shop LC was also started in the same year. In 2012-2013, Vaibhav Gems was renamed as Vaibhav Global Limited, and they also launched other categories of products other than jewelry like lifestyle products, bags and accessories. In 2014-15, they again received an award called Indian Gems and Jewelry Award 2014 in the silver jewelry category for the second time. They acquired a 64,000 square feet space in SEZ developed by Ricoh, and this was one of the best performance years of Vaibhav Global Limited with 1.3 million plus registered users. They also launched another channel called TJC Gold, which was dealing in high-end fashion jewelry items. In 2015-16, their Shop LC business, which is a US business, launched their mobile website. In 2016-17, they doubled their production capacity by adding a 1 lakh square foot building in SEC 2 of Jaipur, and they also launched their mobile apps. In 2017-18, the ranking of this company moved up to 162 in Fortune India's 500 list, and presently in 2021, it is at the 65th position of Fortune next 500 companies in India. So this itself shows that the company is one of the best performing companies of India. Now, if you see the group as a whole, Shop LC is their US business, TJC is their UK business. The manufacturing part also comes under Vaibhav Global Limited India. These STS group of the STS business segments which you see, they are mainly helping the main business in sourcing and supply manufacturing, or they are also running their B2B business through this STS business segments. Now let's understand the business model of this company in brief. This company manufactures fine jewelry in India and their other manufacturing units. The STS gems business segments, they source these gemstones and other jewelries. The STS segment also supplies the jewelry to various retail chains through their B2B business, and Shop LC US, TJC UK, and their other sources of sale like website, mobile apps, etc. sell these products to various countries in like US and UK. So now let's talk about their US business, which is Shop LC US. It is headquartered in Austin, Texas, and this was launched in December 1st, 2008. In US, this company is a multi-channel retailer. They run this TV channel 24/7, and they also run their e-commerce business. This is one of the fastest growing jewelry and lifestyle businesses in US, and it has a reach of more than 80 million households in US. So you can see that they have quite a good amount of market size. Now, if you see in US, they have presence in multiple channels. Like their first channel is through their TV channels. The second one is through their presence on web through their own website. They are also available through mobile apps on Google Play Store and Apple Store, and they also sell their products on marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, Zulily, and other things. They also sell products through social media where Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. Now they have also started advertising and selling products through their new OTT platforms like Android TV, Roku, Smart TV, Facebook live streaming. And you can see that the company is transitioning from TV channel store to mobile, web, and OTT platform store. If you see the revenue performance compared to the last quarter of this segment, the US segment, 48.7 million USD was last year and 62.7 this year. So in spite of the COVID situation, the company is doing well. Compared, if you see year on year also, 192.2 million USD was last year and 234.9 million USD was this year. So in UK, it is a well-known online jewelry and fashion brand. It was launched in 2006, April 4th, and this channel also is broadcasted 24 hours a day. They sell variety of products, including the beauty products nowadays, and a lot of gifts on their UK channel. And in UK, they have a reach of more than 25 million households. Other than UK, if anybody wants to shop, they can shop through their website. UK also, they have presence through their TV channels as well as the web presence. In web presence, they have their own website and mobile apps. They are also selling on marketplaces like Amazon, Frugo, eBay. They are also present in OTT platforms like Roku TV, Facebook live streaming, and Apple TV. Now, just to give you a glimpse of their products, they are into fashion jewelry. They are venturing into accessories like bags, scarves, watches, and other stuff. They also sell precious and semi-precious jewels. Now they are entering into different new segments like health and beauty care, where they are selling fragrances, skincare, hair care, beauty oils, and such stuff. So these are the different brands which Vaibhav Global operates in different countries. Now, if you see their UK business, it has shown better growth compared to last year. If you see the quarterly result, it has grown from 14.9 million GBP to 20.1, and year on year it has grown from 60.9 to 80.2. So in spite of COVID, this UK business has performed well. Now, if you see the revenue breakup, the revenue from TV has grown at a CAGR of about 11.5% in the last 5 years, and the web revenue has grown at a CAGR of 32.4% in the last 5 years. So you can see that now their business online, which is through their website and other platforms, is growing faster than their TV business. So the company is heading in the right direction along with the market changes. If you see their B2B business revenue, it has fallen from about 190 crores to 25 crores in the last 5 years. So the company is not concentrating much on their B2B business, and they plan to focus more on their retail business through the websites. If you see the revenue by product category, now you can see that the share of revenue from non-jewelry items has increased from 9% in FY 15-16 to 31% in FY 2021. So this is no longer called just a jewelry retailer, but it is now into various lifestyle products. If you see by geography, UK business has increased from 27% to 31% compared to the US business, which has gone down from 73 to 68. So gone down in the sense the share of UK business is increasing compared to US business. Now let's talk about the industry in which this company operates. The market size of this sector is expected to grow to $103 billion between 2019 to 2023. So you can see that this sector has a lot of scope of growth in the coming 2-3 years. And in India, the gems and jewelry exports are expected to reach about $100 billion by 2025. So the exports from India are bound to increase very much. The government has allowed 100% FDI in this sector. The Gems and Jewelry Export Council has proposed a reduction in the import duty on the polished diamonds from 7.5% to 2.5%. So when this happens, India gets the stones cheaper and they are able to manufacture jewelry at a lower cost. In September 2020, US was the largest country at having a share of about 44% from exports to India. And this sector, this gems and jewelry sector, contributes about 7% to India's GDP. Globally, if you see, there are more than 3 lakh players doing this business, and this sector employs about 4.64 million people. And if you see the employment, the sector is going to generate a lot of employment, and this employment is expected to go up to 8.23 million people by 2022. Now, if you see, their competitors can be broadly classified into 4 baskets. The first one being that they are exporting from India to abroad in a B2B sale. So other exporters who are exporting from India to the other countries and doing B2B business will be one of their competitors. The second ones will be the Indian companies which are running websites in other foreign countries will be their competitors. The third will be the websites which are run by the local companies in those countries. And the fourth will be the other exporters from different countries which are selling in the US and UK markets through their B2B channels and their online websites. So broadly, these will be the competitors of this company. There's no listed company in India doing exactly identical business as Vaibhav Global, but there are a lot of unlisted players in India doing similar businesses, and few names are mentioned on your screen. Now, what are the different competitive strengths or economic moat of this company compared to its peers? It's a vertically integrated company where they have complete control right from importing of raw materials to manufacturing their products and selling them abroad. The management is very strong. They have a lot of decades of experience in this field, and their governance is pretty strong. They have good infrastructure and manufacturing facilities to manage their business. In US and UK, their websites and brands have strong presence. The business model which the company is running in is a scalable business model which does not require much of capital expenditure. You'll see when we discuss their balance sheet. Their presence in the online businesses is growing continuously, as you saw that their web business is growing faster than their TV business now. And as their fashion jewelry segment is pretty strong, it is easy for them to venture into new verticals like health and beauty products. They are not restricting themselves to just as a jewelry brand and diversifying into various product ranges and geographically also. And compared to any new website, obviously Vaibhav Global will have a lot of credibility and trust from their customers, and customers would prefer to buy from them. Their strong roots in India will help them manufacture products at reasonable price and offer a lot of variety to their customers. Now, what are the growth prospects of this company going further? Post-COVID, if you see, the online shopping has increased as people have stopped going out or reduced going out. They are watching more of television, so which is increasing their TV business, and they are surfing more on the internet, which increases their online shopping business. E-commerce is still a booming industry, and people are preferring to buy things online rather than going to physical shops. And as the internet technology is evolving, the speed of the internet and the experience gets better and better, and people prefer to buy online. The company is planning to widen its portfolio more and more and add more verticals to its products. People are willing to spend more and more on lifestyle products as their per capita income is increasing, and the space in which this company is operating has huge scope. The market size is huge geographically and in terms of products also, which gives the company a lot of tailwinds for growth. What could be the different risks and concerns for this company? People are shifting more from watching traditional television to OTT platforms, so their business on the TV channels may reduce. That could be a risk. There will be a lot of competition as more and more companies are entering the online shopping space. There is a trade war between US and China, and this is affecting the sourcing of products from China, as this company, like many others, is depending on sourcing a lot of products from China. People are expecting better and better customer service, so the company has to deliver better consumer experience going forward also. As it's a 100% export oriented business, The forex rate fluctuations will affect their revenue. The company works in a very dynamic environment and it has to maintain that dynamism itself, as it has to move along with the audience, where the audience is shifting from one platform to another, or audience is shifting from television to web. The company has to transition itself the same way, or it will be a big risk to the company. Now coming to the financials part, starting with the quarterly results in Q4 FY21, the company has clocked a revenue of about 666 crores compared to 498 crores in the last year, EBITDA of 85 crores to 60 crores last year. EBITDA margins have improved to 12.8% compared to 12.1% last year. The profit after tax has been 56 crores compared to 40 crores last year. Profit after tax margin have shown slight improvement to 8.4% compared to 8% last year. EPS has gone up from 12.25 to 17.29. The TV sales in terms of numbers, if you see, they have gone up from 1529 to 2050. Although the trend is moving to web, still in terms of volumes, the TV sales are rising. The TV average sale price has been fairly constant around 29.5 USD to 27.9 USD. The web sales have gone up from 1067 to 1348 thousands. So there has been a substantial increase in the web revenue, and in web average price, it has gone up from 21.9 to 24.6 US dollars. So in web, if you see, the volumes have also increased, the average ticket size has also increased. So there has been around 33% rise in the retail revenues. ROCE has expanded to about 61%, which is a huge margin. The year-on-year jump is 38% in terms of unique customers, and they have risen to about 5 lakh unique customers. There was a new launch of a channel called TJC Beauty for their beauty products in UK, and by the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, this company has been conferred as a best governed company. So this gives the company a lot of credibility in terms of corporate governance. Now coming to the yearly financials, the company has grown its revenue at a CAGR of about 15.26% in the last 5 years, from 1439 crores to about 2540 crores in FY21. The EBITDA has grown at a CAGR of 44%, which is a very impressive number, from 86 crores to 370 crores in FY21. EBITDA margin has increased from 6% to about 15% in FY21. So you can see the absolute numbers are rising as well as the margins are also improving. The profit after tax has grown at a CAGR of about 43% in the last 5 years, from 65 crores to about 272 crores. Profit margins have also improved from 4.63% to 10.7% in the last 5 years. EPS has grown from 3.97 to 16.7. Equity share capital, if you see, it has been fairly consistent. Now, if you see the balance sheet, it will be interesting to note that fixed assets constitute only about 184 crores, whereas major portion of the balance sheet is into investments, which is 280 crores, inventories, which is 446 crores, and cash and cash equivalents of about 188 crores. So trade receivables about 167. So the current assets hold more portion of the balance sheet. So the company doesn't require a lot of capex to run its business. Now, if you see the inventory, it is fairly rising. It has no sharp or unusual increase in the inventory. So the inventory turnover ratio is also fine. The trade receivables are also consistently maintained and they are going up as per their revenue. There is no unusual movement in trade receivables. Cash and cash equivalents have been fairly better compared to earlier years, and in FY21 it has a cash and cash equivalents balance of about 188 crores. Free cash flows are rising compared to FY17, which was 55 crores. It has generated a free cash flow of about 269 crores in FY21. ROCEs will be impressive, right from 15% in FY17. If you see in FY21, the ROC was 37%. So there has been a consistent increase in margins as well as return ratios in the last 5 years. Debtor days are fairly constant and about 24 days in FY21. Inventory turnover ratio is consistently maintained. In fact, it has slightly improved in FY21 to 5.86, which shows that the stock is moving decently fast. Now let's understand the shareholding pattern of this company. The promoters hold about 58.35% in the company, which is fair enough. FIIs hold about 11.64%, DII is about 19.11%. So the institutional holdings are pretty strong. There is only 10.89% with the public, and out of that also there are two marquee investors, Ashish Kacholia about 1.47% and Mr. Vijay Kedia at 1.84%. So you can see that the FII's investment is strong, as well as two marquee investors have stakes in this company. Promoters holding is slightly reduced from 58.61% to about 58.35% in Q4 FY21. FII holdings are fairly constant from about 12% to 11.64% in Q4 FY21. Now coming to the other financial highlights, debt equity ratio is only 0.13, so it's almost a debt-free company. Investments are about 280 crores on the balance sheet. Dividend yield is about 0.62 because it's a growth oriented company. The managerial remuneration of Mr. Sunil Agarwal is about 4.26 crores and the CFO is about 1.07 crore. So they are well below the limits. The stat auditors of this company are BSR and Company, which is one of the big four firms called KPMG, and internal auditors are Deloitte. The credit ratings of this company are strong. You can see that it's A- and A2+. There are no unusual related party transactions, and the operating efficiency of this company is getting better and better, as you can see from the margins. Now coming to the valuation part, the last traded price is about 805 rupees, 52-week high and low is 249 to 1058. So you can see that the company's stock has given very good returns to their investors. In the last 5 years, it has given a return of about 72%. Last years at a CAGR of about 79%. In the last 1 year, a return of about 221%. So in terms of returns, the stock has made their investors very happy. The market cap is about 13,000 crores, so it's a mid-cap company. PE is about 48. Median PE in the last 5 years is about 21.6. Industry PE is about 23. EPS would be about 16.7 and face value is 2 because it has done a split recently. Book value is about 59 rupees and PB ratio is about 13.6. So in terms of PE and PB ratios, the valuation is expensive, as you can see from the median PEs also, which is around 21.6. Now let's see the chart. Now, if you see the chart, the first support comes around 725 to 775 zone, which would be a good accumulation zone for somebody who wants to enter the stock in these ranges. And the next support comes to around 580 to 600 zone, where you can increase your stakes at a more reasonable valuation. Coming to the recent news and announcements, the company recently allotted about 1,70,000 shares under the ESOP scheme, and the company has started their own solar power plant to reduce their carbon footprint and supply electricity to their manufacturing units. The excess supply of their plant is distributed to the other local villagers. Non-executive director Nirmal Bhardia has sold recently about 170 million worth of stock, and ICRA has assigned A rating to Vaibhav Global's bank facilities, which is again increasing their credibility. So this is about Vaibhav Global. I hope you like the analysis. Now to summarize, the company has experienced promoters who have been running the business consistently well. The company has strong fundamentals and great track record of consistent growth. It's an asset-light business model which does not require much of capex. And as you know, the fashion and lifestyle industry is also booming, and along with that, the e-commerce space is also under a boom. The company will experience a lot of tailwinds from their sector. The company is diversifying into non-jewelry segments, which will strengthen its product portfolio. And post-COVID, the online shopping trend is tend to increase. The market size is huge across all geographies as well as the product ranges. The company has sufficient cash flow generated and it's not dependent on outside sources for its debt. But there is a lot of competition in this space which this company has to cater to going further. Although the company has a strong brand presence in UK and US, but still this company doesn't have a very strong economic moat, because this business is something which some other company, if not a newcomer but a well-established brand or a big business house can come out, do and compete with this. And in terms of valuation, I feel it's still expensive and you should wait for some correction to enter it at a right valuation, if at all you enter, if you want to enter this stock. So this is about Vaibhav Global. I hope you like the analysis. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. And if you want to follow me on different social media channels, the handle is mentioned on the screen. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to comment the name of your favorite company in the comments so that I can choose that for my next analysis video. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day.